DraftKings just dropped their NFL Week 1 salaries, and I can't wait to dive in. This is your way too early DraftKings NFL Week 1 first look for the 2025 season. Now, disclaimer, it's way too early, and there'll be a lot of news, information that comes out from here on. But I've already discovered mispriced players, super bargains that I think will hold up all the way through till the actual kickoff. So I'm excited to get into it. We're going to do a full breakdown of the player pool for NFL Week. We're going to build a bargain basement lineup to start, and then we're going to build up some usable stacked lineups from there. Let's jump right into it. And of course, to get into it, before we ever even look at the salaries, I like to take a look at the at the game cards and just get a look at the Vegas odds for each game to get a feel. Close, high scoring. That's what we're looking for. Remember, high scoring games, close, good for everyone, right? Heavy favored teams, good for the running backs. Heavy underdog teams, bad for the running backs, right? So we're looking for all of these things. Teams that score a lot of touchdowns tend to have players that score a lot of fantasy points. So we want to find the highest team totals possible for NFL Week 1. Let's jump right into it here. We have odds for Week 1, so let's jump right in here. First up, let's see. First game of the Sunday slate, Giants at the Commanders. 45.5 point total. It's kind of interesting. More so on the Commanders side. Giants not known as a particularly good defensive team. So of course, all the Commanders players will be viable in this one. You know, will the Giants be competitive at plus 6.5? We'll see. I kind of think yes, but we'll see. But certainly the Commanders have a nice team total that we could work with in that one. Slightly better game here. Jaguars at home taking on the Panthers. I'm excited for this one because neither team can play defense, and that's my kind of thing. Very cheap stacks here with Lawrence and Bryce Young. So plenty to work with in this game. 46.5 point total. 2.5 point Jaguars home favorites in that. So yeah, let's pay attention to that game and the players, Lawrence Stacks, Bryce Young. I really like Brian Thomas Jr. There's a lot of pieces on the Jaguars that I really like for NFL Week 1 as well. And maybe the Panthers, we'll see. Steelers at the Jets, 38.5 point total. Jets are 3-point home underdog. I don't like it. Crapper, stinker. The only thing, you got a revenge narrative with Fields probably going up against the Steelers for him. There's no revenge there. There's no vengeance. They didn't do him wrong. It's fine. But this game really doesn't pop with that 38.5 point total. Stay away. Raiders at the Patriots. Again, you know, this one I think even Vegas doesn't really know where to total it. The Patriots are a really mysterious team. Drake May, year 2. The Raiders, all new team with Geno Smith at the helm. Some exciting, you know, rookies on both of these teams at the running back position between Janty and Trevion Henderson. So could be interesting. Could be something there. Of course, with the Raiders, Brock Bowers is always going to be in play. And on the Patriots side, who's the wide receiver? Stefan Diggs. They got the rookie, Kyle Williams. So a lot to pay attention to in this one, but I don't know if we have a lot of certainty there. Cardinals at the Saints. Cardinals are 5.5 point road favorite. I want to bet this. I think it's just grab the bet. The Saints are going to be the worst team in 2025, I think. They don't have a quarterback that's good. They have nothing going on there. I think we should actually grab a bet here on the Cardinals. Lay the 5.5. As much as I'm not in love with the Cardinals, but as far as this game goes, 41.5 point total, not too much excitement in terms of it being a high scoring game. So nothing that I want to particularly go after here. I'm kind of thinking about James Conner early in the season, still healthy, but beyond that, not a whole lot. Bengals at the Browns. Love the Bengals. Bengals offense, so good. Can the Browns make it competitive? I don't know. Vegas kind of thinks so with this 45.5 point total, 5.5 point spread. So as I sit here, I don't even know who the Browns QB is going to be this year. I think it's probably going to be Joe Flacco, but I'm not sure. And so it's really hard to get a read on this game. Will it be competitive? Obviously, we're going to be targeting the Bengals offense all year. Jamar Chase, super underpriced for Week 1. Everybody's underpriced there. DraftKings made it really easy Week 1. I'll show you in a minute. So you could afford Jamar Chase if you want. T. Higgins is inexpensive. Lots of pieces from this game are super available and affordable. Dolphins at the Colts, 46.5 point total. Colts 1.5 point home favorites. A little surprising to me to see the Colts favored. Again, quarterback situation really up in the air. Dolphins, coming off of a rough year last year, but one thing I can say about the Dolphins was when Tua played healthy games, Devon Achane was smashing, and it was very consistent. Achane inexpensive on the slate, so I'm going to definitely have some interest in Achane in this game. We'll see about other pieces. Bucks at the Falcons, 48.5-point total. This is one of the biggest totals on this. It's not the biggest, but this is a game to target this week. 48.5-point total. You got the Falcons, Penix, Drake London with the injury possibly to Darnell Mooney. We might just get like Drake London out there going nuts. Ray McLeod, I believe, is the other wide receiver on the Falcons. Like if Mooney is out for week 1, which I don't know, but if it is, then Ray would be a super punt, except there are so many amazing bargain plays. You don't even need it. And then, of course, Bijan Robinson, he's the man, right? He's going to be the top running back play probably on this slate and on most slates this year. On the Bucs side, we got Bucky Irving, Mike Evans, healthy. We have to see about the injury status of Godwin, but, you know, if Godwin's healthy and Evans is healthy, then our Baker Mayfield stacks are in play. They got the rookie Igbuga coming on strong, and it looks like Bucky Irving is going to get the full lead back role this year. So definitely a lot of pieces in this game that we want to be paying attention to week 1 and all season long. Keeps going. Titans at the Bucs, 41.5-point at the Broncos, 41.5-point total. This one's pretty gross. Nothing. I mean, Titans got the new quarterback. Fine. I'm excited to see it. Broncos, Bo Nix, season 2. Broncos have an elite defense. People, I don't think do we know this? Is this understood? Broncos defense is no joke. And I don't think a rookie quarterback going up against them is going to put up a lot of resistance. So not a spot for me where I'd want to target it. Normally I'd like Broncos running back in this one, but it's not clear between Dobbins and RJ Harvey kind of how that split's going to work out. So better to avoid. 49ers at the Seahawks up next. 1.5-point favored 49ers on the road at the Steelers. 45.5-point game total. So right in the middle in terms of the game total. I like this. I like this spot. I like the San Francisco side of it quite a bit. Listen, Seattle, not that good of a defense either. They're nothing scary. Seattle offensive players are super cheap. They're a team that scores a lot. They also focus their entire offense generally on just 3 players. So look for Juwan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, and Christian McCaffrey in this game to be the entire offense of the 49ers. And if they score 4 touchdowns, maybe 2 of those guys will smash, at least 1. So I'm really excited about it. All of the 49ers wide receivers are priced dirt cheap like they're garbage. That's the best part. They are the bargains on the slate. You'll see when we go through the player pool. All right, game of the week or game of the slate, the highest total. We got the Lions at the Packers. Oh my. Sorry. Lions at the Packers, 49.5-point total. Packers, 1.5-point home favorites. Now, obviously, the Lions are chock full of studs at every position. Jahmyr Gibbs, Montgomery, you got Amon-Ra, Jamo Williams, even Laporta. Everywhere you look on the Lions is a stud that is expensive and needs to put up big numbers, and they tend to score a lot. So it all tends to work out. The Packers, tougher team to kind of get figured out. They do have, of course, Josh Jacobs as a workhorse back. Really no competition for touches there. But at wide receiver, it's a lot of names. They got the rookie Golden in there, Dubs, Wicks, Reed, a lot of names, a lot of mouths to feed. They tend to all disappoint or be very difficult to pick through. So I'm interested in this game, but it's not the easiest one to figure out for DFS purposes, and it might actually be better to look elsewhere. All right, finally, we got the Texans at the Rams. I'm excited to see the new look Rams offense with Devontae Adams holding it down. Upgrade off of what they had in Cooper Kupp last year, that's for sure. Puka Nacua was an absolute monster last year as well when healthy. As of right now, we got healthy Puka for this one. So I think this game can have a lot of excitement. On the Texans side, an injury to Mixon leaves their running back situation very much in flux. Of course, you have Nick Chubb there now. They've drafted a rookie. So Marks, I believe it is the name. And so we'll have to see how that whole situation shakes out. But actually, the way I'm looking at it is without Mixon dominating the touchdowns like he did last year, maybe we'll get the old original year 1 CJ Stroud version that was an absolute beast with his arm. So we got to see how that one plays out. We're going to pay attention. We're going to watch some really good games on Sunday night and Monday night, but we are not here to talk about night slates. We're here to talk about the main slate on DraftKings NFL week 1. Way too early first look. Guys, before I get into it, I want to let everybody know that we're running a big special at DFS Army. Right now, we have our full year NFL package. That's 12 months of NFL full VIP coverage. We're taking $50 off. It's $249.99. Effectively, what we're saying is if you do NFL only at DFS Army, do the yearly, get signed up now. You'll get 12 months. We go to off-season arena, Canadian football, and all football is included. So it's the year-round package, of course, our best ball content, not just the NFL season, a 12-month package. Does not matter when you get it because it lasts for 12 months. It's a 12-month package. Promo code NFL25 gets you $50 off the full year package. So make sure to check that out. You get the Domination Station, all the stuff that we have going. And of course, if you're watching this and it is way too early. It's in August. A big part of why you want to join now, we're spending the month of August doing back testing streams, learning, improving, and honing in our skills on the DFS Army Domination Station Optimizer. We're able to go and do back testing last season, the season before, showdowns, afternoons. We figure out our settings, we hone them in. If you can't produce, my theory is, if you can't produce a win in back test mode where we kind of know what the outcome is, then you don't want to be maxing out tournaments. So once you hone that skill in, we work it together, we get good at optimization, and then we can take down tournaments through the regular season. You'll love it. So sign up now, promo code NFL25. All right, let's get into it. NFL week 1, way too early first look, and we'll just go position group by position group, talk through the players. I've already talked to some of these games, but of course, Jaden Daniels, oh, look at this new way that DraftKings showing the game logs here. But Jaden Daniels last season was an absolute beast, averaging 22 fantasy points per game. He's taking on the Giants. I think he's an easy quarterback to slide in your lineup this week. He's really only throwing to 3 guys. Zach Ertz at the tight end position. You've got Deebo Samuel, the new addition to this team, who I think could be great with them if he's not washed. And then Terry McLaurin. So Daniels, definite possibility. Joe Burrow in that game at Cleveland. Again, also Joe Burrow is going to be spectacular. All these guys are really good. Easy stacks to build with Burrow on the road at Cleveland for NFL week 1. Baker Mayfield in that super exciting Tampa at Atlanta game. I'm not really sure about Godwin right now. I could do a Mayfield to Josh to Mike Evans type stack. Starting point, really easy, inexpensive, no worries there. Goff is not somebody I usually like to target, but he is the quarterback of the highest total game of the week. He averaged 20 fantasy points per game last year, which is amazing considering how many of the touchdowns Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs took, but that's just, the Lions and their offense. It's really, really good. Kyler Murray at the road to New Orleans, going to skip him this week. I don't really like non-competitive games, as you guys know. Bo Nix, also non-competitive game, not excited about it. Brock Purdy does interest me here. I don't know how, Seattle, I think at home could be competitive. San Francisco scores a lot. Purdy had a pretty good year last year, so 20 fantasy points per game. He's easy to stack. One of the cheapest quarterbacks to stack this year. So there we go. Next, we've got Jolo on the other side of that big total Detroit game. Jordan Love was not good last year, averaging just 15.9 fantasy points per game. He was great in his first year, and then last year, not so good. So who are we going to get this season? They did add a rookie wide receiver in Matthew Golden in the first round. So who are we going to get this year? I'm not really sure with Love. I'm not really sure who he is as a player yet. So we're going to find out. Is he a fantasy asset? I don't know, but I'm inclined to, I like the game spot, and it's kind of easy to stack, but at the same time, GPP only for me, definitely. Stroud at the Rams, same kind of story as Jordan Love. Was really terrible last year, like horrific. 14.5 fantasy points per game. Remember last year, there was a lot of injuries on the wide receiver group for Houston. They have that terrible offensive line as well. And you had Joe Mixon sucking up a lot of the touchdowns. So we'll see if Stroud can turn it around this year. I'm not inclined to go there for week 1. Stafford, same deal. I was, Stafford's fine, but unexciting player, doesn't do anything with his legs. He needs a monster game. The good thing about Stafford is it's super stackable. Like if he's having a big score, it's the wide receivers connected to him that are going crazy as well. Tua, NFL week 1, gonna be healthy, gonna be out there, but he's just not he's not a great fantasy producer either. So I tend not to play too much Tua outside of big tournaments. This lineup will be probably a little more cashy. So we'll hold off on Tua for maybe tournament type stuff. I wouldn't use him here. Bryce Young is interesting. I'm going to get to my favorite in a minute. My favorite, the cheapest favorite in a minute here. But Bryce Young, kind of interesting here at Jacksonville. Had a really strong end to the year last year in terms of his fantasy production. He even put up a 36-pointer in week 18, 27-pointer, got a 23-pointer in there. But it's hard to forget that when he's not doing that, he's in the 12s and the 15s. So again, very GPP only, but really a wonderful matchup for Bryce Young. But I like the other side of that game a little bit better. I'll get to that in a minute. Michael Penix also only played a few games last year, but in week 18 had a monster score, put through a bunch of touchdowns. Let's see here. Is he rushing? Not really. So you're not going to get any kind of anything with the legs out of Penix, but he threw for 11 touchdowns. He threw with 3 touchdowns, and he put up some big numbers, threw for a lot of yardage, 3 touchdowns in those 2 games, right, that he started last year. And he was locked into Drake London, and it was just Penix to London all day. So it's an easy stack because it's Penix to London, like no problem there. Easy to build it. And I think this Tampa game could blow up with massive points. Similar one, Drake May. Now, Drake May, the difference with Drake May, he doesn't have a lot of history of putting up big numbers at all, right? 14.9 fantasy points per game last year. Just not a whole lot of, really, no tournament winning type performances from him last season. But this is a new year, new season. He's got a whole new wide receiver group, and he does do a little bit of work with his legs. Drake May runs the football a lot more than you think, right? 30 yards, 50 yards, 6 rushing attempts. He's running it 4 to 6 times per game most weeks, which is what I'm looking for. A couple other names to pay attention to. Fields, of course, with the Jets. Fields should always be somebody that we're paying attention to, that we're interested in. He's a running quarterback. He's very inexpensive. He put up big numbers, surprisingly good numbers last year for a guy that I think we all have a memory that it wasn't that good last year. But when you look at it, yeah, put up a 20, got a 35 and a 23. All in all, he had a pretty good run with the Steelers because this guy gets it done with his legs. And we have quarterbacks that get it done with their legs. The end result is big fantasy scores, right? That's just what happened. A couple other names here. One of my favorites. So we'll get to Darnold. Tough matchup at home against San Francisco, new team. I'm not sure I'm ready for it, but I like the price. 5,300 is crazy low. But I think for NFL week 1, the guy I want to slide in here as my favorite low-cost quarterback is going to be Trevor Lawrence. Now, Trevor Lawrence does not have a history of being good. Sorry, right? High draft pick, whatever. But, his production is all over the place. But I just really love what Jacksonville did this year. They added the weapons. Brian Thomas Jr. breakout last year. They add Hunter. I like this situation. And of course, the biggest part, Liam Cohen, new offensive coordinator, the same guy that turned around the career of Baker Mayfield, is now in Jacksonville. This whole team is set to blow up. So I like to get on that early. The Liam Cohen Bucks 2.0 bandwagon, especially against the Panthers defense. That's terrible. So I'm going to slide Trevor Lawrence in here in our first look, sort of like in our lowest priced quarterback that I'm interested in this week role. Just a couple other names. The other main name, I guess, whoever is quarterbacking the Colts, if it's Anthony Richardson, I think we're going to be interested in him as well. For the same reason as I would be interested in Fields most weeks, Richardson gets it done with his legs. And as mid of an overall player as he is, he just has a hard time not scoring 20 fantasy points. 29, 23, 22. And this is when he was sucking. Imagine he didn't suck. Imagine he didn't suck. But I don't trust him. Okay. All right. Moving on to the running back position for NFL week 1. This is the way too early NFL week 1 first look. A lot of injuries might happen between now and kickoff. A lot of news, a lot of nuggets, all kinds of information. So we're going to find out a lot. But at first glance, let's take a look at the NFL week 1 running back group and see what we think. All right. Starting at the very top, of course, we've got Bijan Robinson. He's the GOAT, always the GOAT, putting up monster numbers towards the end of last year. Underpriced at 8K. Like, they're giving him away. Everybody's underpriced this week. It's crazy. But Bijan, the highest cost running back on the slate. Fine by me. Bijan's the man. I will always play him. Jahmyr Gibbs. Again, Jahmyr Gibbs, he's priced like he's still going to get the volume, the workload, the scoring, all that he was seeing at the end of last year. I don't blame them. Of course, Montgomery had been hurt for most of last year. So a lot of his monster production, a lot of this crazy run that he had came with Montgomery out. But then Montgomery came back and he continued to sort of smash. So Gibbs is the man, and he's always a good play. But obviously Montgomery is there. They're on the road, etc., etc. But I love Gibbs there. Christian McCaffrey week 1, healthy. Get a healthy CM sizzles. Fine by me. Can't go wrong with McCaffrey. This price is ridiculous. 7,300. It's like a bargain basement sale on Christian McCaffrey shares. Okay, you give me CMC for 7,300? Are you serious? Who's making these rules? What are you guys doing? Bucky Irving, 7K. Also, another great spot. I'll take Bucky Irving right here. Bucky Irving started the season last year sort of in a, let's call him a shared role with Rachaad White. But towards the end of the year, he really took the bull by the horns, nailed the role for himself. So Bucky, the expectation is he will be a full boat workhorse for the Bucs this year. The Falcons defense, not very good versus the run, very middle of the pack last year. We don't know what they're going to be like this year, but last year they were not very good, right? So give me some Bucky also in this high-powered offense, high-scoring game. Love that. Ashton Jeanty on the road, rookie season, first game ever. I tend to stay away from that, but the name that pops out the most to me is Devon Achane. Achane in games where Tua was healthy last year, absolutely beasted. And if Tua's healthy and Achane are healthy, I just think Achane's going to beast. And especially now that they got rid of Janu Smith, who was like captain check down. So I think all those check downs, they're going to go, some will go to Waddle, but a lot of them are going to go to Achane. So I think Achane could see 8 targets in a game like this. That is more than I need for a $6,900 wide receiver who doesn't get carries. Achane is also going to carry the football, 15, 17 times. So absolute no-brainer play here. Achane, NFL Week 1, on the carpet, indoors, can't go wrong. Let's keep looking through this this running back group, though. Not done. You got Jonathan Taylor, also an absolute volume beast at home against the Miami defense that's also not very good. So Taylor, very playable. Josh Jacobs in that spot, high-scoring game against Detroit, very playable. Chase Brown, why would you ever not want to play Chase Brown? He was absolutely a monster last year. Look at those volume. Look at the volume. 20 carries, 4 targets. 18 carries, 3 targets. 25 carries, 3 targets. 14 carries, 6 targets. 8 targets. There you go. When the carries go down, the targets go up. Look at this. 22 carries, 7. This is unbelievable volume. Now, it is concerning. He had a great year, but a lot of his great year came on massive volume weeks. Did the Bengals kind of replace him? Yeah, they brought in some guys, Tajay Spears, a few different names that look like they might be interesting. I don't think Zach Moss is relevant on this team, but I think it's going to be Chase Brown's team. So I like the price point at 6,600. No problem there. Kyron Williams, 6,500. Sure, why not? Breece Hall with the Jets. Again, I don't like the spot against the Steelers, so I'm going to lean no to that one, but I do like Breece Hall this year in general. Kamara could get a whole bunch of receptions in this game against Arizona, but I don't know who's throwing the ball. I'm not touching that. James Conner. Here we go. Nothing wrong with a little Jimmy Connors action. Week 1, full healthy. Older players, they're going to be at their best early in the season while they're still healthy. So get your exposure to Connor early. This game is great for it. Arizona's going to be favored. So no reason not to play Connor in that spot. 6,100. Chuba Hubbard, also gives me a nice little piece that goes along with my chosen quarterback here in T-Law. But Chuba Hubbard, also a guy that's going to get a ton of volume against the Jaguars team that could not stop the run last year. Chuba was pretty good. Just more of a volume machine, 25 carries, 5 targets in week 16. Last year, 26 carries, 5 targets in week 14. Look at this volume. 28 carries, 6 targets. This guy in competitive games was seeing close to 30 opportunities last year at times. If we're anywhere near that, he's going to absolutely crush. Kenny Walker, 5,900 at home against San Francisco. Again, I prefer my running backs favored on teams that are going to win. I don't really think Seattle's going to win. Probably not how I would go in tournaments, but I think he's an acceptable cash game play. I just like the other running backs in this price range a little bit more. B-Rob, I don't really know. I'm not interested there. He just doesn't get enough volume compared to the other names that are available. RJ Harvey, rookie, competing with J.K. Dobbins for touches. That's a bad scene to me, so I'm going to avoid it. Tony Pollard, same deal. Underdog running back, competing, really just a half share running back, so not interested in that. Montgomery, DraftKings doesn't really reward kind of what he does best, which is just score touchdowns. It certainly pays for the touchdowns. It doesn't really reward it the same way you'd be rewarded on a half PPR side. So I'm going to avoid that one as well. Henderson, no. Stevenson, no. Why no? Because I don't know which of those two is even the starter at this point. So, and I don't think there will be one. I think it's going to, unless somebody gets hurt, this is going to be more of a split situation in the early season. So I don't like it at all. Same thing with ETN, Travis Etienne, not interested. Don't even know if he's going to start. Definitely has a lot of competition for touches. So it's pretty gross. Let's just scroll down. That should be just about it. I don't think that running back is the place we want to punt cheap in NFL Week 1. We want to pay for studs in Week 1 because there are amazing bargains available at the wide receiver position, which I'm going to show you right now. So let's jump over to the wide receiver group and we'll get into it. We'll start at the top and you'll see there are some amazing bargains sub 5K that make it so easy to afford whoever you want. I'm going to start from the bottom because I want to get into those bargain names just so you guys can really see what I'm talking about when I say DraftKings gave us an easy path. First is right down here is Ray McLeod. Again, if Darnell Mooney is hurt for this game, a sub 4K guy, you can't go wrong with Ray down here at 3,700. We're not getting too excited about it, but it's certainly something to pay attention to. But as I scroll up, a name is just popping off the screen. Ricky Pearsall. Oh, there he is. Ricky Pearsall, first round wide receiver from 2024, was held back by Deebo Samuel, all this other competition. Still had a pretty good first year. Look at the monster games he had in weeks 17 and 18, coming on strong. Got injured for a little bit, but before that was also coming on strong with some big games. So I think Pearsall is going to be a stud. I think he's going to be a star this year. I think he's massively underpriced for the slate. Brandon Ayuk is nowhere to be found. Probably not going to see him until October. So give me Ricky Pearsall at 4,500 as the top value play for NFL week 1 at wide receiver. Let's go. Ricky Pearsall. I saw the price, 4,500 at the first look, and I felt the tingles. Boner alert. It's a core play. It's a core play. We're going to use a lot of Ricky in NFL week 1. Some other names here that are fine. Marvin Mims also came on strong at the end of last year. Check this out, 27 fantasy points in week 17. Oh, we were all over that. Don't know why. I feel like it was like a Bobby Wow call. And I was like, we're all over Mims. And then he went crazy. It was awesome. Followed up with another decent performance in week 18. He's just a guy that was coming on late. So I'm interested. Not necessarily in love with this game environment, though. So not for week 1. Wandy Robinson also is a guy that I think we're going to be using a lot this year. Just we're going to have a lot of Wandy Rob lineups this season, especially if we get that salary down closer to 4K. He gets a ton of volume, but not for week 1. I'm not feeling it. There's too many other great value plays here. Here's another one. Josh Downs. If we like anything about this Colts team, and I do, Josh Downs is the WR1 for his team. And yet, first of all, he's priced below Pittman. I just think that's insulting. Josh Downs is the better wide receiver on the Colts. Michael Pittman is the WR2. Speaking of WR2s, Jawan Jennings. Sub 5K, Jawan Jennings? Excuse me? What? What? I want you guys to take a look at the volume of targets that Jawan Jennings saw last season. Now, again, I talked up Pearsall. Love Pearsall. Think he's more talented. Fine. 11, 7, 8, 9, 6, 10, 10. Guys, in between week 10 and week 18, this guy averaged 9 targets per game. 9 targets for sub 5K on a high-scoring San Francisco offense. Excuse me? Look what his salary was. By the end of the season last year, it was 5,800, 6,200, 59, and we're getting him for 4,900? Excuse me? Thank you. I'll take it. I feel like it's insulting. It's insulting to Jawan Jennings to place him down there. Sub 5K.
How dare you?
How dare you? But yes, I do like Jawan. And if we went with a lineup that actually looked like this, of course, we'd have to swap in Brock Purdy. So what we're doing here, this is sort of what I'm calling my cheapest viable, and then we'll make adjustments and we'll do a few different versions of lineups that we can build off of this base. So let's just keep going because there's more. I'm not even done. You're like, hey, is that all the bargain names? Jennings, Downs, and Pearsall? No, there's more. Calvin Ridley. Now, again, I don't necessarily love it week 1, but Calvin Ridley, the Riddler, NFL week 1, WR1 for his team. Now, again, I don't love the spot. Titans on the road. Denver, probably the best defense or one of the best defenses this year in the NFL. So stay away, but let's keep an eye on Ridley this year. He's going to be a beast with a proper quarterback. Remember, he was playing without a quarterback at all last year. They just had some dude back there who would like eat mayo from a jar, and they just thought it was funny, so they made him the quarterback. It was fucking weird. Who cares if you can eat mayo? Will Levis. It's disgusting. It's repulsive. I thought drinking milk was gross. Eating mayo. What's wrong with you? Hunter, week 1. I mean, he's an explosive player. So Travis Hunter, the rookie, could be interesting there with T-Law. I'm not sure he's ready week 1. I'm not sure already playing week 1, but maybe, like tournament, definitely. Let's go Jacoby Myers. Also a guy who's going to get a ton of looks this year without very many other options, and a improvement at quarterback from Gardner Minshew / whatever turd was there last year to Geno Smith this year. Geno's way better. Ted McMillan, one of my favorites this year. I don't, again, rookie wide receiver. No, all right. Week 1, it's a little tricky, but Ted McMillan overall, love him. And at 5,200, even in week 1, that's interesting. There's Debo, Steffi Diggs. Diggs is going to be healthy in this New England game. I think they're going to feed him. Cooper Kupp, is he washed? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out, right? Like, so I'm excited to see some of these names play. I'm more inclined to kind of like sit back and let's see what happens. But of course, DFS is DFS. We got to get ahead of things. So we'll be making lineups around a lot of these guys, QB-based lineups. I don't see them necessarily as standalone options, more QB-based lineups, but definitely interesting. Cooper Kupp also, is he washed? I don't know. Maybe, but maybe not. If he's not washed, I think he's going to do great in Seattle with Sam Darnold. Seattle, Jackson Smith and Jigba, is he, he's a certain kind of wide receiver. I'm not sure he's like the all-purpose Justin Jefferson level wide receiver. He could just be more of a slot guy. He could be more of a, we haven't seen him carry the load. So with Cooper Kupp there, maybe Cooper Kupp has a resurrection. Jerry Jeudy, no, right? Maybe. I guess if Flacco is the QB at 5,400, so many bargains. Jamal Williams, Harrison Jr. at 5,500. Look at how cheap these guys are. Will Godwin play? Will he start? If he did, I'll be very interested. So Godwin at 5,600. Bargains galore. JSN 58. Excited to see what if you've been watching my best ball streams, Draftapalooza, that's what's up right here on DFS Army YouTube channel 3 days a week, drafting best ball teams. You know that I love me some Devontae Adams this year. I think he's going to be a touchdown scoring machine. I don't think he missed that much of a step last year. I thought he looked really good, especially on a Jets team that stunk. Averaged 17.9 fantasy points per game. They're pricing him at 6,100. I find it insulting. I find it an insulting price for Devontae to have him that cheap. That's insulting. How dare they? I won't bring Betta back. I won't bring Greta back. But how dare they? Some other names. So scrolling up, yeah, Garrett Wilson with the Jets, fine. If I play Fields, probably. But I like him. T. Higgins, sure, why not? Drake London, absolutely somebody I'm going to be targeting heavily in NFL week 1 as well. It's just the perfect spot. Penix to London. I'm just going to set up those stacks. We might build a stack like that here with this lineup, but we'll get through all the names and then I'll show you how we can take this sort of baseline, I'll call it like a bargain priced lineup, and build off of it into some stackable lineups for tournaments. So we're doing a lot. It's NFL week 1. It's an early first look. You guys have a lot of time. So we'll take a lot of time with this and kind of go through these players wholly and completely. Drake London, love him week 1. Mike Evans, also, if he's healthy coming in at this Atlanta game, this is a game we want to target. Bucks at Atlanta. So Evans, London, all these guys are super in play. In a Trevor Lawrence lineup, I say it's effectively a must to have Brian Thomas Jr. in there. So that would kind of be my flex pick or my WR pick for Lawrence above Hunter. Lawrence is also connected to a really inexpensive tight end. So we'll be able to create some Lawrence stacks without really breaking the bank too much. Malik Neighbors, yeah, I love him every week. Amon-Ra, great. Nico Collins, great. Puka's such a beast. Puka and Jamar Chase are both amazing. Puka might even be, when the quarterback is healthy and Puka's in there, sometimes Chase kind of gives way to T. Higgins in certain games. Puka really he's such an animal. Look at all these targets. Just the target numbers, 13-8, 14-8-9, 14-9, 14. So many of these pop games. He just gets all this volume. Has a 44-pointer last year. Tons of these 28-pointers, 7, 14, 21, 28. We need to be around 28 fantasy points at that price point. And almost every healthy game, he just kind of gets there. So love these guys. Love Puka. Love Jamar Chase. Of course, these are game/QB specific, but all of them are great. No worries. Let's take a look at the defense, and then we'll go to tight end, and then we'll take this sort of bottom dollar build, and we'll build up to some stackable lineups. I like to just choose the cheapest viable defense, as you guys know. I don't want to put too much time or effort into thinking about that this early. Let me just find what I consider to be the cheapest defense that we can play NFL week 1. And I think for me, it's probably the Dolphins on the road at the Colts, just because regardless of if it's Anthony Richardson or Danny Jones, both of those quarterbacks are absolutely terrible, right? We're not playing the Giants at Washington. We're not playing the Titans at Denver. Not playing Cleveland against the Bengals. I don't want to play the Carolina defense. Saints stink. Rams, too good of an offense. Seattle, San Francisco, too good of an offense. This game, high scoring. Raiders at New England, just they're on the road. Detroit at Green Bay, high scoring games. It really does come down to this Dolphins game at 2,700 is cheapest viable, I think, defense on the slate. If I scroll up a little bit, let's see if I find one that I actually really like and think it's worth paying up for. Yeah, probably Arizona, because the Saints are going to be absolutely dog shit. Maybe Cincinnati at Cleveland as well. So those would be some of the names, or of course, Denver against the rookie. The higher price defense is very viable, and I think we'll be able to afford them this week. Now, if I just wanted to finish this video up and say, thank you very much for coming, I could just slide Brock Bowers in there and call it a day. But that's not what we're here to do. We're here to build beautiful lineups and really go through the process of how to build tournament lineups for not even just cash games, but small contests, little tournaments, things like that. So we're going to get into a little bit of that. But let's first go through the tight end position. We'll find a tight end that we think is the best value on the slate, and then we'll build out an official lineup off of that. Going through the tight end position, Brock Bowers, of course, last year, an absolute animal. Look at it again. Volume is crazy. 16, 10, 14, 13. You don't see those target numbers for any tight ends. It's unheard of. I think that's going to continue this year. Very comfortable playing Brock Bowers at 6,500. Here's another thing. This guy, I guess he was priced around there last year. So I thought it was a bit of a price drop, but actually I see now really not. Trey McBride takes sort of a back seat to Bowers in terms of his fantasy production a little bit. But if you look at his volume, it's right up there as well, 16, 11. For some reason, Kyler Murray is just better suited to throwing to the tight end. I don't know. Maybe because the tight end's tall, Kyler Murray's short, he can see him. I mean, your guess is as good as mine. But clearly Kyler Murray likes to throw to the tight end position, and McBride gets a ton of volume. George Kittle, always playable, had a great year last year, quietly averaged 16.6 fantasy points per game. You know, that's more than McBride and Bowers did. Kittle was the highest last year. No one knows this. Like, everybody's like, oh, these other guys. No, George Kittle had the most production out of anybody. And if we're building a beautiful Brock Purdy, look at this. Right off the bat, I'm just going to show you how this just came together. Look at that. Purdy, Pearsall, Jennings, Kittle. It's too big of a stack, but beautiful stack, right? We got the whole team. Now we have too many people. Which one are we going to get rid of? Et cetera, et cetera. But nice little Purdy stack right there. Easy to put together. Triple stack. We'll probably remove one of these guys, put in a different name, and call it day. I think it's too much to have, Purdy with all three. Let's see. How can you do that? San Francisco, Seattle. Nothing really correlative there right now, but McCaffrey, you would have to switch that one out because I don't want McCaffrey necessarily as QB. So probably do a different kind of a lineup. Chase Brown, 800 to spend. Take this up and put in a stud in this spot right here and call it a day. Oh, how about that with Jackson Smith and Jigba? Oh, look at that beauty. This is how you make a lineup. Purdy stack, Pearsall, Kittle, come back with JSN. Josh Downs in there, Brian Thomas Jr., Dolphins defense, with Dolphins defense stacked with Achane, Chase Brown at the running back position. And again, I already see other adjustments that could be made here. We can get off of Brian Thomas Jr. since there's no T-Law and just kind of slide in whatever we want here. A lot of different ways to build lineups. Week one, oh, Drake London. Oh, I like that. Yeah, and now we got 400 to improve the defense if we want. So that could work. I don't really see a better defense though, so I'll go right back to whatever we just had there, Dolphins, right? 400 left to spend. Let's continue looking at the various tight ends, however. We'll come up with some other lineups and stacks. George Kittle, really good. Sam Laporta, fine in that game. Not somebody I'm excited about. David Njoku, 4,700. Don't know who the QB is. Evan Ingram, I'll be interested this year. That's for sure. Not sure about week one. Warren, the rookie tight end with the Colts. We got to see what we get from him. Kyle Pitts, Penix is talking about Pitts. I'm going to get him the ball. I don't know. I've lost my belief in Pitts a little bit. Prove it. We're going to have to prove it. Janu Smith, new team. Don't like the situation. Ertz with his QB. Tucker Kraft. I like Hunter Henry. I like Hunter Henry standalone. I think he's probably one of the better kind of standalone NFL week one play. Look at the volume he gets. Hunter Henry's another player that kind of goes under the radar. Yes, this offense was pretty shit last year, and he didn't score very well, only 9.3 fantasy points per game. But, 8 targets, 9, 8, 9, 8, 9, 12. He's definitely a guy that gets target spikes. The Patriots, though, have a lot of fresh new wide receivers, so maybe that volume won't necessarily be there this year. We'll have to see. Scroll down. Gesicki is there. Darren Waller, if he starts, could be kind of interesting. If we bring back Trevor Lawrence and we bring back Brian Thomas Jr. for this Lawrence lineup, right? Then we can add Brenton Strange to the mix and get a nice little double stack with Lawrence, Thomas, Strange. You saw how well Cade Otton did at times last year in the Liam Cohen offense with the Bucks. Look how much salary we have left when we go to Lawrence and build a lineup like this. This is what I was talking about. There's just flexibility everywhere. So what I would do here, I'll leave Parasol in there. I kind of like this starting point, although I don't mind moving off of Chase Brown. But with 9,300, what I do here, pull Josh Downs. We got 6,950, and we could just kind of stud up at wide receiver. Why not? Let's go with extreme studs, right? Why not? Nico Collins, sure, or Christian McCaffrey down here in the flex. So a lot of really cool versions of this lineup. So check this one out. Let's see if we can get, Chuba, you want to get some, I don't feel like we definitely need to bring back here. This lineup, here we go. Trevor Lawrence stacked with Brian Thomas Jr. and his tight end Brenton Strange. We've got Chase Brown and Devon Achane as our primary running backs. Ricky Pearsall, the bargain of the week. Drake London, possibly without Darnell Mooney, looking at 10 plus targets in this game for 6,500. Sure, fine by me. Christian McCaffrey, healthy, back, all good, 7,300. And Dolphins defense. And again, if I don't want to go McCaffrey there's so many other options at running back this week that all look really, really good. I could even go with Chuba Hubbard, who is the running back for Jackson for Carolina, get a little comeback going and have all this extra funds to spend wherever the hell we want. Back to that Dolphins defense, right? We've got 1,400 to spend now in this version. Can go back from Chase Brown back up to Bijan even. Jahmyr Gibbs, we can get whatever stuff we want. Really beautiful lineup like that. Let's do a couple other lineups here for NFL Week 1 that make a lot of sense. But you've already got the beat here. DraftKings did us some favors. They set up some bargain prices, and we're just going to build correlative lineups. Why do we build correlation? Build correlation because the only thing we know for sure is that if a quarterback is putting up a monster score, then the likelihood is that the players connected to that quarterback are also putting up monster scores, right? So if I play Brian Thomas Jr. and he puts up a 40, there's a really good chance that his quarterback is having a great game, which is why we want to do the stacking. For every touchdown that Brian Thomas Jr. scores, Trevor Lawrence gets a touchdown, and that makes it great. Let's look at a version of this lineup. We did a Purdy, we did a Trevor Lawrence. Let's do a Penix version of it because it's just fun to build, right? So Penix, that Tampa-Atlanta game, right? We can mix him. Actually, he could probably play with Bijan. That's probably fine. Or we can kind of get off of Bijan, get Penix in there with Drake London, which he already is here. We can even throw Kyle Pitts in there. Not Kyle Pitts. Atlanta, Jatavian. No, it is Pitts. Wait a minute. Yeah. I guess we could throw Kyle Pitts in there if we want with Penix. I don't really like Kyle Pitts. I don't normally play him, but it could work, right? Get Chuba out of here. I usually like to play wide receivers in the flex on DraftKings anyway. 6,350. So we can go right back to Chase Brown. This will be a go-to guy for me week 1. 6,100 leaves us, Devontae, Chuba, Connor, endless options, all that look really good. And I'll probably go with Devontae here. I want to repeat some names, like give me Devontae there, big upside. Or again, with Penix, we could just punt the tight end, spend the money elsewhere, right? Go back to Hunter Henry here, spend an extra 400 elsewhere. So a lot of nice options, a lot of Penix lineup right there as well. All right, guys, that's going to do it for your DraftKings NFL Week 1. Way too early first look. We looked at the whole player pool. There's a lot of bargains available. Of course, between now and kickoff, there could be injuries. There's going to be news out of training camp, all kinds of things that could change. So this was just to get a feel for NFL, get the tingles going again. DraftKings is back. NFL Sundays right around the corner. I'm going to start making lineups already. That's how excited I am about it. Hope you guys are excited too. If you want to sign up at DFS Army, roll with us for this NFL season. Our projection model is the most accurate projection model in the industry. We put it up against anybody else's. This is known. No one can beat us. You can crush your cash games using our straight models, using the Domination Station Optimizer. We're going to teach you how to use these tools. We're doing that now in the offseason. Promo code NFL25 gets you $50 off a full season, 12-month package of NFL. It doesn't matter when you sign up. You get 12 months. That's how our system is set up. So sign up now. Get in there for the back testing. Get in there for all the teaching that we do. Get in there for the preseason games, which we have coverage for. We'll have cheat sheets, notes, and optimizer even for the preseason games. So get in there now. Promo code NFL2025. I will see you guys in the lobbies. Helmets up, everyone. Take care.